What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Monday. Glad to have everybody along. Hope you enjoyed whatever the heck that was with the Pro Bowl over the weekend. But live back on this Monday, it is the week of the Super Bowl, and we're getting set and started and kicked off with a lot of rumors flying rampant around the internet with the Tennessee Titans, the Chicago Bears, and the number one overall draft pick. So we're here to discuss all of those and what happened over the weekend. And I think this is the right time to have this type of show, Zach, because we're about to enter, as I said last week, lying season when it comes to the NFL draft and reports all the way around, especially when the number one overall pick is up for grabs with the Chicago Bears already having their quarterback, Justin Fields, and the Houston Texans and several teams behind the Bears looking for a quarterback atop this NFL draft. So we're going to discuss all of the Chicago Bears rumors that happened. I guess that was like Friday afternoon that went throughout the weekend, what that means, why you should, beware of what you look for and what you find on social media when it comes to NFL draft rumors. And then the conversation itself about the number one overall draft pick and the Titans and what their situation is with new GM Ran Carthon and the number one overall pick, where the Titans are at and what it would take to go get that. So, Zach, welcome in on a Monday. Hope your weekend was strong and getting ready for an Ask Me Anything Monday. Curious to see what you got in the holster for the end of the show this morning. What's going on?
Yeah, got a big show on this Monday morning, excuse me, as we broadcast live from 3 different platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We got you covered there. And man, I got to clear my throat. Sorry about that. I hadn't talked in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so here we are. Welcome to Monday.
It happens.
We're happy that Monday. Now I'm good. We're rock and rolling on a Monday. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And we will tweet out segment by segment on our Twitter handle at A to Z Sports. That's at ATOZ Sports. So follow us there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube and you've already subscribed to our channel, make sure that you like this show. You can go ahead and hit that like button. That will help the algorithm get more people in on this conversation in our community each and every morning at 8 a.m. So subscribe and or like the show if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, bottom left corner of your screen, share now to public. Sharing is caring. Caring is sharing on this show. Share the show around. That would help us out a great deal. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. So share the show around. More people are going to be piling in over the next 5 to 10 minutes. So let's get this party started on a Monday morning.
Yeah, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media, as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the shows on our Twitter timeline at A to Z Sports, and hit us up on Instagram and TikTok for more great Titans coverage. We do have to thank our sponsors because they actually make this thing happen for you guys, and they make it free and help you guys out with whatever you have going on in life, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That's better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a health plan for you, fbhp.com/ATOZ. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, go to Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation, 800-800-4600. So, Zach, I was Friday afternoon, I was, working on some stuff. And then I get a text from, somebody who's like, hey, is there anything to these Titans Bears trade rumors for the number one overall pick? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so I go look through social media, and we see what exactly was starting to catch some legs Friday afternoon and continued to grow over the weekend. And it comes from a couple Bears Twitter accounts with the number one overall draft pick. And so we know this with the Texans beating the Colts in the last week of the season. The Texans slid to the second overall pick, and the Chicago Bears go to the first overall pick because they lost to the Vikings. And the Bears have Justin Fields, who they like a lot in the building and has made a lot of plays, did a lot of great things in his second year with the Bears, but they were the worst team in football. but they don't need a quarterback right now. They have the number 1 overall pick and several teams behind them who need a quarterback desperately. And there's Bryce Young, there's CJ Stroud atop the draft board. And so that pick is open, right? We know that. But then the first comes from an account called The Bears Blog. And so this is The Bears Blog, official partners with whatever that is right there out of Queens, New York, thebearsblog.com. And so that first tweet on the right, haven't tweeted much for you, but I have 2 things for you. 1, Fields didn't become the guy last week. He became the guy in November. The whole building loves him, and they should. 2, 2 teams have already floated offers for the first pick. Neither is the Texans, who picked 2nd, or the Colts, who picked 4th. Will be fun. And then somebody asked him, okay, what about the Carolina Panthers? And the Bears Blog said, well, what about that club in Nashville picking 11th overall? And so that's where things start to take off. And then another Bears account, this one's Ben Devine, who claims to be a Chicago sports news Bears fan, draft nerd, teacher, eggnog lover. So, and he is also subscribed to Twitter Blue, hence the check mark. Ben Devine says the Bears have already received offers from 2 teams for the number 1 overall pick, according to the Bears Blog. Neither is the Texans or Colts, and updating that one of the inquiring teams is the Titans, who pick 11th overall. So, Zach, that's what that is. And then I see Instagram accounts, I see other Titans Twitters, fan accounts, and it just gets legs and runs. And I don't know how you feel about this, but that's the story. So I'll toss it over to you to see how you feel about the Bears Blog and the fan account that we just showed there on these rumors.
Well, here, look, my opinion is that blogs are not bad. Blogs give fans and people, things to do. They give them an audience. They give them a community, and that is valued. Yeah. But I think where this problem is that when bloggers try to be more than bloggers, and that's what you get on the internet quite a bit, especially in today's age, as there's a transition from what Twitter represents now compared to what it did with Elon Musk trying to fix it, which I do think that's got to take time, right, to figure out and feel out a process. I think there's a lot of trial and error that Elon is trying to do with Twitter. And Twitter is how we get our news. I hate Twitter. I mean, I'm documented. I hate Twitter. Nobody cares how many Twitter followers you have. And people are so obsessed with Twitter and their following. Like, it doesn't make you that much money. I'll tell you that. So here's the problem. Bloggers now try to extend to become reporters, and they have a community, but they're not reporters, because they don't go through the same system that reporters should go through. That is verifying sources, multiple sources, before it is even put out to the public. And Austin, look, I'll let you explain. I'm a business major. I didn't go to journalism school. I also don't, Big J journalism is dead. I've said that for a long, long time, especially in today's age. It still doesn't mean that there shouldn't be checks and balances when you report something to the Twitter sphere. When you have a community and you have an audience, you should treat that with respect. But in journalism school, they do teach you about sourcing and sources. And I don't trust the Bears Blog from Queens, New York, covering the Chicago Bears multiple states away. And then, whoever this Ben guy is who just paid $8.99 a month to get a check mark next to his name. So we've got to really, really be aware of who is sending out this information and the validity of it.
Yeah. And so you mentioned, yes, I have a broadcast journalism degree from the University of Tennessee. There are really just 2 things that I still use from that degree in today's world, because, it's over 10 years old. My degree is, and media moves very fast in a decade's time. So the 2 things I use are, 1, if you're wrong, get right as fast as you bleeping can. And the other one is, if you're going to report something and you don't hear it from the horse's mouth, like from the person, then you need to have 3 sources on it, and they need to be independent sources of one another. It can't be like two people, but they are getting it from each other. And so there's an opportunity where sometimes you get it right from the horse's mouth, which we have done in the past with Rashard Matthews, right? When Rashard Matthews left the Titans, A to Z Sports reported that as Rashard Matthews left the Titans because Rashard Matthews told me that he left the Titans specifically through text. And then you have situations where Taylor Lewan got popped for a PED suspension. And what did we have on it? We had two independent sources, not three. Did we run it? No, we actually reached out to Lewan and Compton at that time for that third source. And then they broke the news themselves. So we didn't jump the gun on that. So that's two examples of how that works. But, as somebody did mention here in the comments, that I want to bring this up, and we will talk more about this in a second, that, that one of the Bears bloggers that is being that's being talked about here, over 42,000 followers, not just an average fan blogger. And while that might be the case, we're going to go deeper into that in a second. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about this Bears blog. And because we have a luxury here at A to Z Sports of having a Chicago correspondent in Sam Phelan, who knows everything about Bears Twitter and Bears social media, because Chicago is where Sam is from, and he is a childhood Bears fan. So I'll tell you more about what we need to know about the accounts that these are coming from. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get injured in life, you need to go to who you can trust, and that's the people at the Bone and Joint Institute. They've got you covered. They've got over a dozen specialists there in Franklin who specialize in any type of injury you could possibly think of, head to toe and everywhere in between. They've got you covered right there. You go to boneandjointtn.org. You type in make an appointment. You tell them what's hurting, and it sorts the doctors who specialize in those type of injuries, and boom, you find what fits your schedule. boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today. They've got you covered on your sports book, and you should download it, and they'll hook you up. You get $1,000 in bonus bets. That is one heck of a deal. $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet misses. You can download the app in your Apple or Android store right there. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports. That's all one word. Download the app today.
All right, so Zach, Sam Phelan, who is our Titans reporter here at A to Z Sports, is a Chicagoland native and a fan of the Chicago Bears, and has followed the Bears blog for quite some time. And so what this is the Bears blog is thebearsblog.com. It's a website, and this individual, who has been nameless and faceless for the entire time that the account has been going, has quite a following, 42,000 followers plus. And so what Sam has described to us is that this particular account has a source around the Bears that has been around, factual in some instances, but it's usually details that don't exactly matter to the bigger picture of breaking a story. It's usually some opinion around something that might have happened. Like if the Bears have interviewed a coach for a position, the Bears blog account will have some information on when that interview happened and that it actually happened or something like that, but nothing substantial where they have been able to break news. So when you see this account and this tweet on the right, haven't tweeted much, but I have two things for you. The thing about Justin Fields, and then two teams have already floated offers for the first pick. Neither is the Texans or Colts. Will be fun. And so that's the first thing, right? The second thing is Ben Devine, who is a subscriber to Twitter Blue. And you look at the difference of Ben Devine's tweets and what the Bears blog tweeted, because Ben Devine says that update, one of the inquiring teams is the Titans, who have the 11th overall pick, where the Bears blog says, what about that club in Nashville picking 11, which is asking a question, but Ben Devine is taking it as one of the inquiring teams is the Titans. And so there is a stretch and a reach even between these two Bears fan accounts that is making this irresponsible and not how things should work when it comes to reporting about NFL draft trades. And so it's February 6th. It is so early in the NFL draft season. The Senior Bowl just happened on Saturday. The Combine is about 20 days away. And so it's about to be very messy over the next several 2.5 months when it comes to this number 1 overall pick. And Zach, you touched on it. This is the first NFL draft season that we have had where anybody can get a blue check mark at any point in time to spread whatever they think could be funny or could be entertaining to them. And so free agency in the draft this season is going to be very difficult to sift through. So again, just try to be patient and look at who you're reading tweets from and try to think, is this reliable? And then I think I think there's some responsibility that Titans fans who have a platform or an account for Titans fans to not post this nonsense without sorting through some things, because there's Titans fan accounts on Instagram that were running with this thing, and I'm like, come on, this is so ridiculous. Like, let's not jump to conclusions on all this.
Clicks.
Yes.
That's
or impressions, whatever it is.
Clicks. I mean, and we look, you know the game. I think this is the this conversation represents the truth behind this. Do I want to talk about Bears bloggers today? Hell no, guys. That's like that's the last thing that I want to do. I loathe that type of stuff. But it does need to be talked about in the sense to kind of, devalidate these guys. With a big following comes a big responsibility. If we just threw out rumors just every single time that we heard anything, that would not be responsible to our following. Mm-mm. And we've got a big following, right? So I feel like this is tough. Now, and here is the next phase of this. Is it realistic that the Titans could trade up? That's not that unrealistic. It's not like you're telling, it's not like they're saying that a team, with the 22nd pick is trading up for the first pick. I mean, you're going from 11 to 1. Is that a jump? It is. But we've seen some big jumps in the NFL draft. The Julio Jones, I think, trade opened our eyes to a lot of things. There's been more and more trades over the last several years around the draft than ever. So when you talk about things, it's not bad to talk about a possibility. But when you're coming out here and floating out rumors about reports, and then you're getting other guys that are reporting, that is damning to what, honestly, the industry represents. And that, I think, is my problem with these Bears bloggers, is that they're throwing around a lot of ideas that could be somewhat realistic in the realm of possibility. The Titans need a quarterback. They've got a quarterback issue. I think that's been documented. They got a roster issue. They've got a top 11 pick, right? So, you can't just throw out things. And especially the Bears blog, just threw out a question about Nashville. He didn't even say anything regarding the Titans.
What about?
Right? He was baiting. That's, you're leading the witness. Objection, Your Honor. You're leading the witness. And what happened was they led Titans fans and Titans bloggers. Again, I don't have a problem with the blogging industry. That's not what I'm getting up in arms about. It's the blogging industry trying to be something that they're not. They're trying to be reporters. Stay in your lane, right? Like, it's okay. But once you try to jump over and you try to break news, then your reputation needs to be on the line. Because if you get it wrong, then you need to be discredited. Because that's the responsibility that you have if you're going to play the game that is called media. Because in today's age, anybody can call themselves media if they get a Twitter handle and a following, right? But that's not how it should be. And we're still trying to adapt to, as I mentioned before, you talked about making sure that the tweet that you read is a verified user in some degree, so you can form an opinion on your own accord. Mm-hmm. Well, now it's a 2-step process. You got to read the tweet, go to the profile. It's actually a 3-step process. Yeah. Read the tweet, go to the profile, click on the verification, and then find out if it's something that is or if it's just this dude, Benio, who just sit there and said, hey, I'll pay $8.99 a month and I'll throw out some BS on Twitter to see if I can get some retweets. I mean, that tweet, now that we know that Elon's put up there, it reached 304,000 people.
Yep.
It's fake.
And it's not even about his stuff. It's about the other account's tweet. And he's also gained about 500 plus followers since he tweeted that out a few days ago.
So it's a drug, right? It's heroin. He's going to just try to get more heroin. He's going to shoot up again and throw BS out there on the Twitter sphere to get another 500 followers. And now all of a sudden, social media is a drug. That's exactly what it is. And you got bad users on the platform that are taking advantage of it. And then other people are falling for it.
Yeah. And so Donald says, once again, Nashville media complaining about outside media. No, we're not complaining about outside media. We're complaining about outside bloggers. Like there's a difference in fan content and media content. I think fan content is a fantastic thing. It's not bad. Like Zach said earlier, fan content is good because it allows for other fans to have conversations about their favorite team that drives interest in their favorite team and gives people opportunities to make some side money on their favorite team, whatever. But it's always about understanding where that line is on being a fan platform that can have opinion, that can have reaction and have conversations versus trying to create and stir up news and media. So Caleb says, why are we devaluing them, or why do we need to devalue them? You guys have no idea what they know. It's not it's just again, I feel like
Caleb, I'll answer this.
Okay, go for
Caleb,
it.
you need a reputation.
Yeah.
Like you have to build a reputation that you can break news or you're informed over and over and over again to earn the trust. And if you're just throwing out, and that's why there has to be checks and balances that there is not on the internet. That's been the problem. Whether you're talking about an election and politics, whether you're talking about sports, whether you're talking about celebrity gossip, God knows how many times that, things have been thrown out about one person cheating on another celebrity, and it's been just dead ass wrong because there are celebrity blogs, there are sports blogs, but your reputation has to precede you. That, it would be just like anything. How much catfishing is going on in the world? People going out and whether they're funding people's accounts because they're getting catfished, or they're going out on bad dates because that's not the person that they're going on dates with. Like, the internet is a bad, scary place, Caleb. So it's a reputation thing. Your reputation should mean something. And when you diagnose information, you should be able to understand where that is coming from.
Yeah. And so, Caleb says it's not your reputation. So why have a whole morning show devaluing someone you have no idea about? I just don't understand what the point of devaluing. Well, because we have a responsibility to our audience, because when people are DMing us and adding us on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else about, hey, why haven't you guys talked about the Bears reports? Because they're not reports.
We're verifying how bogus the blog is.
Yeah,
That's the point. Caleb, I don't understand why you can't understand that. That is baffling to me, honestly.
I do think that there's a unique aspect of this, is that we have Sam Phelan. Sam Phelan is our Titans reporter. Sam goes to the facility every time there's an availability or practice or whatever. And Sam is also very familiar with the Chicago Bears Twitter and media circles. And so Sam knows these guys and knows what they've done in the past, and knows that it's not exactly something that you should run with and think, oh, these two Twitter accounts who are Bears accounts as fans and blogs, just because they're saying something doesn't mean the Titans are trading up for the number 1 overall pick. It's a big deal here.
Yeah. And I think I go back to the notion is it's not wild to think that the Titans could possibly do this. But if they did, it needs to be verified from somebody with a reputation. That's the point.
Yeah.
They're not throwing out crazy ideas. The idea of what this represents, there is some possibility. I don't know what it is. There's some possibility that could happen. But to throw that out there on Twitter and have, the rumors start swirling because of it, I personally, this is my opinion, Caleb, I think that is irresponsible.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we understand. I think we've given the rumors enough
Yeah,
conversation
let's
here
stop
on
talking about
right.
Bears blogs.
So now let's talk about the actual circumstance, because Zach, you just said it, that you don't think it's that ridiculous that the Titans could be interested in that number 1 overall pick, right? And so the Titans have a quarterback situation, whether it's Ryan Tannehill next year or a veteran they trade for after cutting Tannehill, or a rookie that they try to draft in the first round and might have to move up for said rookie, that they have a quarterback situation that Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel have to figure out, and that the number 1 overall pick is for sale because of the draft scenario. So let's ask this buy or sell question. Would you buy or sell the idea of the Titans trading up for the number 1 pick? Would you buy or sell the idea of the Titans trading up for that number 1 overall pick? But Zach, tell us all about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. I got my new health plan in 2022. You need to get your health plan in 2023. Plan on them for health, dental, and vision. 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. Farm Bureau Health Plans. You give them a call or go online to fbhp.com/A to Z. You take a quick health assessment. Once you get your health assessment, you get a quote. Once you get your quote, you realize you've been paying too much from your previous health plan. That's when you switch. Very, very simple. Better coverage, better rates, better service. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee.
Also, don't forget the BetMGM app is fantastic. We know what's coming up this week and upcoming Sunday, less than 1 week from now. It's an opportunity to win big with the BetMGM app. And if you're an existing user, you can win big with BetMGM's Refer a Friend invitation, because everybody's trying to get on the action this week, right? And so you could take advantage of that by sending out the Refer a Friend invitation to 20 of your friends, and you get $50 in bonuses for every friend that signs up with your invitation. And your friends get $50 by doing that too. So again, the Refer a Friend invitation in the BetMGM app for existing users, go check that out. So that's up to $1,000 in bonuses if your friends sign up via your Refer a Friend invitation with the BetMGM app. So Zach, we've been through the rumors, right? This is where it started, the Bears blog, that 2 teams have already floated up offers for the first pick. Neither is the Texans or Colts. And then what about that club in Nashville picking 11? So that's where the rumors began late last week. But separate of those rumors, let's discuss the idea of the Titans trading up with the Bears, because we know the Houston Texans are 2 in the division. The Colts in the division are at 4, both needing a quarterback. Would you buy or sell the idea of the Titans trading up for the number 1 overall draft pick with the Bears? Zach, I'll send you to the chat.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Titans fans that I think they do have their head on straight in the sense of what they feel. But then you got a couple that, I think the Titans fan base is desperate for a franchise quarterback, which is understandable. You're in the AFC. You got Joe Burrow. You've got Patrick Mahomes. You've got Josh Allen. You've got Trevor Lawrence in your own division that is on the up and up based on this past season and how they finished. So buy or sell. Tighten Up says sell. Here's a string of sells. DeMario, Eric, Steven, Eric, Jimbo, Major, Jonathan, Jody, Brent, Scott, Rob, Jason, all say sell, 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 sell. Pistol Ramsey is going buy. A couple more sells coming in from Deborah and Michael. Gary says buy. Buy from Nate's Burner. Sell from Karen. Sell from JC. Sell from Amar. Buy from Amar, That's buy. So there's about 3 or 4 buys so far. Martin says sell. Buy from Stephen King. Raise the cost for Houston and Indy. So maybe talking about the idea. So look, Stephen King actually comes in here with some subtleties there.
Yeah.
The idea is different than the actuality, which that's why we kind of position the question the way we do. But that also raises the price for 2 of your competitors and 2 quarterback hungry teams in Houston and in Indy. And then you have the situation of the Bears. If nobody trades with the Bears aren't going to select Bryce Young, and the Texans have their opportunity to just pick, right?
Yeah.
Like that could happen. Nobody's forcing anybody to trade with the Bears to go get Bryce Young. So the Texans may get lucky and pick Bryce Young at the number 2 overall pick if nobody's willing to trade with the Bears, or the Bears don't find a deal good enough to trade.
I find it difficult that the Bears thinking that the Bears are going to pick number 1. I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, if logically it doesn't make sense, but you never know.
I'll say this. If the Chicago Bears pick and select number 1 overall in this draft, that's a failure by GM Ryan Poles of Chicago. Because
look, they don't, Austin, this is a different situation, so I don't want to compare them apples to apples. But our old friend Corey Davis, remember John Robinson, number 5 overall pick? He selected Corey Davis, and what was he desperately trying to do?
But that's the 5th overall pick.
I'm asking. What was he desperately trying to do?
He was trying to trade out of 5 to go back a handful of spots to pick Corey Davis at 12.
And nobody would do it. The same thing happened with Isaiah Wilson, as we found out later. They were trying to trade back, but nobody was willing to do it. I just give those examples based on there have been situations where GMs with high picks have not been able to find a deal that, because it's the representation of the pick. It's the deal. It's not necessarily, oh, well, this makes a lot of sense. You've got to get what the Bears general manager deems value for that pick.
But picking at number 1 is less than whatever value they would get from sliding back to pick whatever in the top 10 or 11, right?
Maybe they want to pick the defensive lineman out of Georgia.
Yeah, Jalen Carter, right? But they're
not going to be able to do that if they trade back to 11.
So here's where I think, this is why I say it's a failure for Ryan Poles if the Bears actually select number 1. That means he's not doing a good enough job of puppeteering and mastering the art of the I've got a guy in the line who wants to do this. What do you think? And so the thing is, we know Houston is desperate for a quarterback at number 2. If anything, the Bears have to do a good enough job of convincing the Texans that somebody behind the Texans wants to jump ahead of the Texans, which makes the Texans have to jump up to number 1, the Bears slide to 2. Like, that's the least thing that should happen if you're the Chicago Bears.
We've seen general managers make bad decisions, right? That's also a sell job.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I preface this, that if the Bears select number 1, it's a failure by the GM Ryan Poles, that he did not do a good enough job of selling the action or perceived action of that pick. That's his job, is to make sure that the Texans, the Colts, and any other pot, that really the Texans, it's his job to convince the Texans and the Colts that somebody else wants to come up. That's what Ryan Poles is trying to do the next 2.5 months. And if he can't do that, then he's not a very good sales guy. Because this should be a fairly easy sell. It should be a fairly easy sell, because you're selling the Texans. Hey, are you okay with either Bryce Young or Stroud? Because I got a guy coming up who wants Bryce Young. Are you okay with Stroud? Are you?
Maybe they are,
or whatever.
Maybe they are, though. Right? Maybe the Texans, and this is something we don't know. Yeah. Again, we're February 6th. Super Bowl hasn't even happened. We don't know if the Texans are okay with CJ Stroud. They may be. Because they may be willing to go with CJ Stroud instead of giving up something for the number 1 overall pick. That's a possibility. Yeah. So it matters less about a sales job. I do think and look, that's the counter to what Ryan Poles' sales could be, right? And maybe Ryan Poles doesn't mention, hey, I've got somebody in the line that's going to move up and take Bryce Young, or that's going to take one of these guys. I'll give you this if you want to come up and take your guy. So you don't get whoever's left over. That's the sale to it. So again, I'm going to ask you now, Zach, do you buy or sell the idea of the Titans moving up from 11 to 1? The idea of it. I love the idea. I'll be honest. I am in love, desperately, passionately in love with the idea. I just think 11 is way too far. Okay. I think that you are going to have to give up so much.
And we'll talk about the cost.
But the cost does not outweigh what the value is, because Bryce Young, still a risk. He's not a proven commodity. You're not trading for Patrick Mahomes. You're not trading for Josh Allen. You're not trading for Joe Burrow. They're not proven commodities. So there's question marks, as we've talked about, for Bryce Young and his durability. You don't want him to be Tua still, or just fresh out of concussion protocol in February. We hadn't played a snap in a month, right? Like, you don't want that risk. And so what's the cost? I think that's why I love the idea of the Titans getting a franchise quarterback and figuring out over the next 4 to 5 years as the number 1 overall pick. Not having future picks, because you're going to have to give those up, is, I think, very, very scary, especially for a brand new general manager. So overall, I think 11 is too far back. So, I mean, I buy the idea, but I think the logistics of it, I've got to sell.
Yeah, and
that's
I think
how I would answer.
Bryce Young's very interesting because, we watch SEC football and we've watched it the last couple of years where Bryce Young's been wheeling and dealing with Alabama. That dude's very good, right? Like, we know Bryce Young can make every throw. He's great at extending the play and making an off-platform throw that puts the defense in conflict. And he's been able to do that this past year without Alabama. Like, who was Alabama's top wide receiver? When's the last time Alabama's had like 0 stud wide receivers? Like, he did it this year with a bum shoulder and 0 stud wide receivers. And so, but you also have Bryce Young, who is listed at 6 foot even, 194. I don't think Bryce Young is 6 foot. I also don't think he weighs 194. And so never has a quarterback been that light and been taken this high in the draft. And so Daniel Jeremiah has called Bryce Young Aaron Rodgers, who is left in the dryer too long, that he plays like Aaron Rodgers, but he's shrunk in size. And so at some point, you can't wear that shirt that shrunk too much in the dryer. And will he be able to stand up and hold up in a 17-game season before you get to the playoffs to help you win the ultimate prize?
Well, how do you combat that? Decision-making. It's what makes Aaron Rodgers so good is he's decisive. He makes decisions to get him out of harm's way more often, right?
Yeah, but even Aaron Rodgers has broken his collarbone twice.
Well, I mean, the longevity of his play.
No, I know.
He's
saying,
not an injury-prone quarterback.
But I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers is but Aaron Rodgers is a big guy who can move and is very decisive. Yes. But, I just don't know Bryce Young if he can hang up. And I think CJ Stroud from playing in the Big Ten, he's basically played 2 games that matter the last couple of seasons. And he had a great performance against Georgia that made him a lot of money. But my point is neither of these guys is Joe Burrow. Neither of these guys is coming out of college into the draft prospect as Trevor Lawrence, the can't miss prospect with that reputation. And so,
but Bryce Young's is the apparent number 1 pick, right? Like, he is the top quarterback in this class. He will be drafted. It's not like a Malik Willis could be in the first round. Oh no, drops to the 3rd round.
Right, but he
is the clear-cut, defined best quarterback in this draft.
Yes, but he's also not what we think Caleb Williams will be a year from now.
Well, there's always that. I mean, come on.
So
Caleb Williams could have a disastrous year. He could break his leg. I mean, there's so many different things. So you can't look in the future. You have to look at now. And the clear-cut number 1 best quarterback in this draft class is Bryce Young.
Right, but not all draft classes are created equally, and not all draft classes
This is not a terrible draft class. It's not terrible. Last year was a terrible draft class.
Yes, but it's not terrible. But is it worth trading up from 11 to 1 to go get a?
Well, that's why I say the cost doesn't make sense.
Right, and so I am a sell on this as well. I don't think the Titans have enough and a combination of enough and the right assets to go do it. It'll take a lot from going to 11 all the way up to 1, jumping those 10 spots. And for a guy that, if you draft Bryce Young, and this was my reasoning on not being all in on drafting Marcus Mariota 2nd overall, is that I didn't think the Tennessee Titans were prepared around Marcus Mariota for him to succeed. If you go back in time machine in 2015 draft, I was more pro Leonard Williams at number 2 than Mariota at number 2. And Mariota didn't have an offensive line. Well, fast forward to 2023, the Titans have the worst offensive line in the league when it comes to pass protecting. And if you're in this hypothetical situation, drafting all the way up from 11 to 1 to go get a guy who might weigh 190 pounds.
Well, the majority of teams picking 1 and 2 don't have the surrounding pieces for them. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but the
how
Titans
it
are picking
works.
11th and they don't have the surrounding pieces, and they're talking about trading up. We are talking about trading up to number 1. So I'm a sell on this idea.
So Noah brings some jackpot bucks. He goes
Yeah.
$9.99, says buy. So here's a different slant on it. You have a new general manager who has the opportunity to get his guy and doesn't seem to be afraid of being aggressive. But it may be too much to trade up that many spots, which we've talked about. Wouldn't surprise me if they try. Noah brings up Rand Carthon. I don't think that we truly know if he's aggressive yet. I mean, we haven't. He hasn't made a single move. I mean, he just got in the damn building. He's just taking his jacket off. I mean, so you cannot sit here and label, oh, this dude is a wheeler and dealer. He is,
And I agree, because a lot of people are like, well, he was with the Niners who traded up for Trey Lance from 15 to 3 or whatever it was. But that doesn't mean that Rand Carthon made that move.
We just don't know yet.
Yeah. And so I haven't, because Noah that brought up, it would take a lot. Let's ask this question on what would it cost the Titans to trade up to the number 1 overall pick from 11 and go through like what we think this would actually take. And then I have an opinion as well based off of Noah's comment there. But first, let me tell you guys about Hughes and Coleman injury lawyers. They're the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. And if you unfortunately get injured in a car wreck, you need to go to Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation. They'll go get you all the money you deserve from that unfortunate event of getting injured in a car wreck. They've recovered over $1 billion for their clients across the state of Tennessee and in Kentucky, and can do the same thing for you. So for a free case consultation, call their number 800-800-4600. That's 800-800-4600. Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans and of A to Z Sports, every weekday morning here with us. So check them out if you or someone you know gets hurt in a car wreck, and go to Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation. 800-800-4600, Principal Office, Nashville, Tennessee.
A to Z Sports, we're powered by BetMGM. I am on a hot streak. Yesterday, 6 bets in a row I have won, including a 4-game parlay plus 445. I bet $35 to pay me out 180.
Huh?
NBA parlay. So I'm streaking, baby. And thank you to BetMGM. Use that promo code ATOZ Sports. They are the king of the sports books. You can join. Look, you have highs and lows in sports betting. I'm on a high right now. I want to stay here for as long as I possibly can. Get up to $1,000 in free bonus bets for if your first bet misses. For new users, download the app today in your Apple or Android store.
Well, on that, Zach, you notice what shirt I'm not wearing on a Monday.
Oh, so you're on the other side.
No, I wear the BetMGM shirt on Mondays when I have a bad weekend, because they own me. When I wear that,
I don't. That I have no idea. I don't pay attention to you. Every shirt looks the same. Just like
but I've mentioned the last 2 Mondays before today, I've been wearing the BetMGM shirt because they've owned me over the weekend. But I'm not today because I got them this past weekend. So I'm with you on the hot side. So, all right, what would the Titans have to give up to go to the number 1 pick from 11? Do you have some chat you want to check out?
Well, here real quick, Andre has some lunchbox money. He says, okay, do you really think the Bears would be willing to drop to 11, missing a top defensive talent? Colts at 4 seem like a better move for Chicago. Well, yeah. I think, and Andre brings up the good point of, it's willing and able, right? Like who's willing? Are the Colts willing? Do they love Bryce Young enough? Do they feel like they could get CJ Stroud? Like there's so many different things, right? I think you go into this and Austin from 11 to 1, I think you've got to give up 3 first-round picks.
3.
And I don't think that the Titans should or would be willing to do that with a brand new general manager. Yeah. You can't just come in there and burn down the place, right? Because you know what? That represents, in my opinion, that represents Ken Wisenhunt and Tommy Smith. They came in there and they tried to do everything completely and utterly different with no inhibition of the wind. And then all of a sudden you blink twice and both of them are gone. Yeah. That's not how Rand Carthon wants to start his career and his dream job with the Tennessee Titans. But I think the cost of living is going up. That's what the cost of living is.
So you think 3 first-round picks. So that means this year's first, right? This year's 11, 2024 and 2025 first round picks.
Yeah,
And
from 11 to 1. I do.
yeah, and probably some more, right? There's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
some,
I'm starting there.
yeah, I'm
The only way that it would go down to 2 or maybe 1, I still think it would be 2, is if Jeffrey Simmons is involved.
That's what I was going to say, because the comment, who was it, Noah, that brought up the would the Bears be willing to trade back to 11 if Jeffrey Simmons is their first round draft pick, right?
Mhm.
If that's their defensive player they get,
And they got
then
the money to pay him.
yeah, and they got a bunch of money to pay him. So that would be it, right? It would be maybe 2 first round picks, the one this year and next year, plus Jeffrey Simmons. And that's, where the Titans would save money from not having to pay Jeff $25 million a year or whatever it's going to be, and then be able to go get the quarterback. But I don't think that's the right move. I kind of feel you on that I believe that's the 2 prices. But Zach, here's what I also think about Rand Carthon. Because Rand has an opportunity to not start his clock, because every GM, every head coach, and you can go to college and say every athletic director, they have a clock, and the clock starts whenever that gargantuan move or decision is made to be aggressive. Like, so Rand Carthon's clock, if he goes up to number 1, his clock is on and it's ticking fast. Because if that fails, then he is gone faster. But if Rand doesn't move up and he stays at 11 and drafts a tackle, I don't think his clock starts.
But what's the worth? I agree with everything you said. What's the worth of hitting on the risk? So look at it in both spectrums, because I don't disagree. But if you hit on the massive move and it's your franchise quarterback, Austin, for the next 15 to 20 years, let that sink in. But that's your risk. I understand it. But if you hit and you have your franchise quarterback, you could be a made man.
Yeah, I just don't think. Yeah, and Malachi says his clock is on trusting an 180-pound quarterback.
I know,
with a team,
and
so like that's
sides.
again, that's where I don't think it makes sense, because it doesn't make sense to start your clock with that aggressive of a move.
When are you going to get another opportunity? I'm kind of fighting. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I hear you.
When are you going to get another opportunity? Like, the likeliness, unless you tank, and that could happen. Who knows what the Titans are going to do in the next couple of years? I don't think the Raiders imagined this year that they were going to pick in the top 10. Do you?
No.
Right? So like
Devontae Adams and really suck. Yeah.
Yeah. Coming off of a playoff, weird things have happened in the past, but the Titans historically also are not a top 1 or 2 team that picks. They've done that a couple of times, right? But usually they're a 11, 12 pick or middle of the pack. They don't pick 32nd. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's usually what the franchise stability level has been. They're not great. They're not terrible. They're good. And good puts you in purgatory. And that's what the Titans have been in. They're good, not great.
Yeah. And so again,
but Austin, here, I'll say one more thing. Being good, not great, won't get you a franchise quarterback unless you pay him and get him in free agency. That's the only way now that you're going to be able to get a great quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. So, speaking of the aggressive trade thing, right? Let's think about the 49ers, where Rand just came from, because they were aggressive. John Lynch had a lot of goodwill and equity in what he had built. He traded aggressively from, I think, 12 up to 3 to get Trey Lance. That's not working out. That was a bold move to go that much for a guy you didn't know much about, coming from North Dakota State. And he has been hurt and hasn't played much, but you got the luck of Brock Purdy that might buy you some time. And so
I think that the 49ers, to compare the 49ers, is somewhat of an anomaly, because the X factor is not the quarterback.
Right.
The X factor is the head coach.
No, I'm with you.
You can make mistakes when you have an offensive minded, let's just call him guru. I mean, anybody in the league would love to have Kyle Shanahan running their offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you make those mistakes, you can afford to take the risk. Austin, they can't afford to take any offensive risk because their offensive coordinator, which they don't have currently, usually is probably going to move on.
I'm with, yeah. So do we both agree it is not worth trading up to number 1?
I would love for them to do it.
Oh, it would be amazing
it's spending other people's money, right?
Yeah.
Like, of course you don't give a damn when, somebody gives you $10 and you lose it at the casino, right? But if that's your hard-earned money, that's your hard-earned picks, that's another story. But I would love to see them with a franchise quarterback that they could ride and die with over the next at least minimum 4 to 5 years. And if not, if you hit, you're now talking 10 to 15 to 20.
Yeah, and the Titans have a lot of problems with their roster, and they only have 6 draft picks, and they have minus $23 to $26 million in cap space too.
Well, and look at the quarterback situation. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady is now gone. Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers. That era of quarterback is gone, right? Mm-hmm. The new crop is Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, as we see him on Sunday. Those guys are super young. They're not going anywhere. And so if you're going to compete with those guys, you're going to have to bring the ammunition to fight. And the Titans don't currently have that ammunition.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. A to Z Sports here live on this Monday. Zach, let's wrap up this show with a Monday Ask Me Anything type of question. I'm curious to see what you got in the holster for today, but tell us about Wilson County Hyundai.
Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your next ride. The Palisade at the bottom of the screen, you see that. Man, it is nice. 3rd row seating, all the bells and whistles. That is your family car. Now, you just got to go quick trip down I-40 exit 236 and take a look and test drive the Palisade. It is very, very sleek. It is fuel efficient, and it could be your perfect family car. If you need something else, you're looking at another make and model. Look at the Sonata, the Elantra, the Tucson, the Santa Fe, even the Ioniq, and the Ioniq is battery powered. All those other cars are just fuel efficient. But Wilson County Hyundai is trusted by A to Z Sports, and they should be trusted by you. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Download the BetMGM app today because it's the perfect time to jump on board with the BetMGM train because we know what's coming up in 6 days from now, and do it with bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's bonus code ATOZ Sports for new users. And what this does is it gives you up to $1,000 in bonus bets back if your first bet on the BetMGM app loses. So you get 2 opportunities at it to make as much money as you possibly can to get that bankroll started with the BetMGM app. And the right time is now to jump on board. So that's with bonus code ATOZ Sports, up to $1,000 back in bonus bets when you sign up with our code ATOZ Sports if your first bet misses. So check them out right there and visit the betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification, eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued at non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire in 7 days from issuance. And for problem game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Zach, we've got Monday Ask Me Anything, so hit me with it. And we'll kind of dive into this.
So real quick before I get to that, Sean King says, if the Titans don't trade up, what's priority with number 11 pick? Sean, hang tight, bud. It's February 6th. We got plenty of time that we're going to be discussing that topic. And then Jimbo says, real question, been trying to figure out how they could trade to be trade talk about Lamar. The Lamar situation is also very intriguing because of what they could do with their quarterback, right? They could franchise tag him for 2 years. They could hold him hostage and try to trade him. They could let him go to another team for them to sign him because they're just done with him. They could be a quarterback needy team. I mean, there's so many storylines this offseason. We have not even gotten to the offseason, so stick with us. So over the weekend, and I think you probably have only did one, and I don't know this, one of these 2 things, but I watched in very, let's just say, very small spurts. That's how I would describe it. The new reinvented Pro Bowl games live from Las Vegas. And I also watched in spurts the Grammys last night on CBS. Both god awful. But I'm asking if anybody watched both of those like I did, not in their entirety. I couldn't sit through all of it. But what was worse, the Pro Bowl games or the Grammys? That is my question to the chat and to you. And my assumption is you didn't watch the Grammys, and my assumption is you may have watched a little bit of the Pro Bowl games.
I didn't watch either on TV.
There you go.
so of the Pro Bowl is so not interesting to me, and anything they do around the Pro Bowl is not interesting to me. Like I saw, on Instagram, like the Titans would share some videos of their guys doing stuff. Like I saw where Morgan Cox helped win the kick-tack-toe by long snapping the tic-tac-toe boards. I saw that. And then I saw one play from the actual flag football game itself. And it was when Derrick Henry caught a pass and then just immediately had his flag pulled. And he just like looked bored because it's like, what is Derrick Henry supposed to do if he's not allowed to stiff arm? Like in flag football, Derrick Henry is utterly useless when it comes to what he is. And so I think, both do not move the needle one smidge for me.
Yeah. And, Pro Bowl was actually better than the past years. I think it's tough because, your expectations are lowered. You want to hear something wild, Austin?
What?
Do you know how much that the Pro Bowl players received this year?
The
winning team. Let's say the winning team, the winning flag football team. How much do you think those players made?
Usually it's like 50 if you win, 25 if you don't. But I don't know this year. What was it?
The winning team in the Pro Bowl made $84,000.
Okay.
The loser of the Super Bowl makes $82,000.
So you made more money if you win the
Pro Bowl
versus
than lose the Super Bowl. It makes 0 sense.
Yeah, but you have to incentivize the guys to go.
I know, and $84,000, I guess, is somewhat incentive, but it actually is not even incentive because so many players don't go.
Yeah,
they're just like, screw it. They'll make more money by just putting their money in a CD for 6 months.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl matters, unfortunately, by label only because if you're looking at a guy's career after he retires, he made 5 Pro Bowls, like that means something. But the actual week of the Pro Bowl is beyond meaningless. And so I think they should just, I get it. I get people watch it and they make money off of it, obviously, because if they didn't, they would stop.
Yeah. Well, they make money off of it because they play the players only $84,000, right?
Yeah.
So I watched both in spurts, as I said. The Grammys were by far worse. And the Pro Bowl games were bad. Don't get me wrong. But the Grammys have crumbled. They don't mean anything to me. And I also think here's the problem, Austin. The Grammys mean the least that they've ever meant to our younger generation. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old girls and boys, they don't care. The Grammys, and I remember back in my day, that was something that like, wow, I mean, that you won how many Grammys? Like that was what you put up on a pedestal to say, this was your line of work. This was what represented your resume.
Yeah.
And now it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Austin, I know you probably don't listen to a lot of country music, but this is how big of a joke the Grammys are. The best album for country music in today's age, in 2023, they gave to Willie Nelson. I mean, that tells you it matters not about what the substance of the music is And it's all about, and I will say this, and I know people don't, it's all about political agenda. And that's not how an award show should be. Even though that's how award shows are, that is not how award shows should be. The Grammys were by far the worst, but both terrible.
What, and this is an open-ended question. What awards actually matter today?
Damn, good question.
None of them. That's the answer. No, none of the awards.
Yeah, the Oscars don't mean as much. The Golden Globes don't mean as much. The Emmys, everybody's got a damn Emmy these days.
Zach, the Heisman Trophy doesn't mean that much.
Boom. There's a great example. Why is that? I mean,
the NFL MVP doesn't even mean that much because we all automatically know it's going to go to the best quarterback, not the actual most valuable player. Like, no award matters today.
Why?
Because we don't care.
Like, but why? But I know, but what, like, I think you brought up a valid point, but I'm trying to diagnose why does awards mean the least that they've ever meant in the history of man?
I think it's because, I don't know the answer to this because that's a big deal, right? Like it's a big deal. It's a big question.
And on all platforms, you just outlaid it. On all platforms, music, movies, acting, athletes, all of that. Individual accolades.
No, awards don't matter.
The only team championships do, right?
Yeah, because that's earned on. It's like not voted on. That's like you played out.
Championship MVPs, right? Like Super Bowl MVPs. There's more value to those.
Because that's like played out on a field. Like it, I think it matters more how many streaming numbers you have or how many downloads you have. Not necessarily who grants you the best at whatever via an award.
And do you think, and Eric brings this up, do you believe because the political sphere of what we live in today is so messed up?
No, because it's like the Heisman Trophy isn't involved in that really. Like it just, maybe when it comes to like the entertainment, like music and film and the Tonys and stuff. But when it comes to sports, I don't think it matters. It's just that nobody I think there's an oversaturation that we just don't care. Like,
I just think it's a very great question. But we don't care in this realm. Actually, what we're trying to find is a substantial reasoning. And I don't think we have one.
Yeah, Dion says, guys, I'll think about your awards question and trying to get a real answer for you based on his view. I'd love to hear. I have no idea, but we as a society no longer care about awards. We don't care about award shows. There's too many of them. Probably it's oversaturated. Like when it comes to the award show concept, there's so many other things that we would rather do than sit there and watch an award show that's too drawn out and takes too long. Than, what we want to find on our phone.
And here's the other thing, pop music or music in today's age, unless you're Adele or like Chris Stapleton that are outstanding live, right? Because they just have this unbelievable voice and music ability. All of the artists blow live. They can't sing, right? Because it's auto-tuned or they're getting help. Even Harry Styles last night, that was one of the artists that I watched on the Grammys. I turned it off. It wasn't based on Harry, like on what he was doing and how he was dressed and all that stuff. I don't care about that. It was based on how he sounded. It was bad.
Yeah,
I think that's another problem for what these things represent. The award shows are supposed to be a form of entertainment, and they're not entertainment when they're not that entertaining.
Well, and we also know I can go watch it on Twitter later. I don't have to sit there for 3 hours to watch an award show when every little concept.
I think that is a part of the answer.
Yeah. Like, I didn't have to watch the Pro Bowl. If something interesting came out of the Pro Bowl, I'll see it on social media.
Yeah.
Which is what happened. Like I did see Tyreek Hill get decked by Jalen Ramsey.
That was probably the only thing that came out.
I saw that 4 seconds. It was like a 4-second clip and okay. And then I moved on my life.
Or, Stephon Diggs kneeling down, looking at cheerleaders.
I didn't even see that. So
that was the other thing that happened.
Well, yeah, again, nothing matters. Basically, nothing matters as much as it used to. So we're just oversaturated, watered down with everything. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching today's show. I'll tell you what matters is subscribing to our channel. Check us out for more Titans coverage. Buck Rising will be live tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime. So make sure you like the show before you go. Give us that thumbs up on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're watching right there. We greatly appreciate that. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like and follow our Facebook page as well for more of our Titans content, A to Z sports.com for more as well. And Buck live tonight at 8 p.m. Central. We'll see you guys tomorrow on a Tuesday. Appreciate it as always.